Hey YouTube, Paul again. 2 days in a row. Except this time I'm coming from the kitchen instead of the basement. Because I'm going to roast a little coffee. A little coffee that I'm sending over to Susan and Cynthia in appreciation for the tobacco they sent me. And I'll give you a little information here as to how I go about roasting. Now, my roaster is similar to a glorified popcorn popper. Although while it uses hot air and stirs the beans, I can adjust the fan speed and temperature to try to get different roasts. And I keep track of that in a little notebook right here. You can probably see right there. Let's see. Yep. Oh, that was probably backwards too. But you get the idea. And yeah, I'm a little dorky that way, but that's the way I like to do it. So I'll show you the roaster. That's it right there. Again, it's backwards. It's called the Fresh Roast SR500. Has the controls right there. And in it right now, I have what's known as Indian Monsooned Malabar, which is a coffee that is, you can see it's really white colored or really light colored. And that's because, and also the beans are really large because they allow the monsoon rains to come in and wash the beans to give them a different flavor, and that makes them really white and a little bit larger than normal green beans, and then also gets rid of a lot of the chaff. The other thing that's nice about this is that it has a chaff collector up here that collects all the chaff that comes off the bean. That's the skin that's on the bean. When it roasts, it swells up and the skin pops off, and you have to collect them somehow. In a popcorn popper, you have to sort it out yourself. This one does it for me. So let's get to work. Let's see. I'm going to do, going the wrong direction. 6 minutes. And this gave me a pretty good one last time. And I dried it on high for about medium. And you can see it bubbling up right there. Now, turn that off so nobody has to listen to my ringer. And you always want to keep the beans moving fluidly through there, because if you don't, then the ones on the bottom are going to burn. And just switch that up to high heat. And you can see they're starting to change color now. Starting to get a little brown. Turn the fan down a little bit, about 75%. Let them darken up some. Turn it down a little further. Part of the reason you want to turn down the fan too is because as they roast, they get more brittle and you don't want them chipping and busting all apart in there. We're at about 50% fan right now. You'll start to hear some popping and cracking, and that's what they call the first crack. As the beans expand, they make a cracking noise, and they usually do this twice. Well, depending on how much you roast it. The first one's a loud one called the first crack, and that's what you hear. Now you're going to hear a slightly lighter crack, which is the second crack. And now it is going into a cooling mode where it cools the beans down, and I usually turn the fan back up a little for this. That actually looks like a nice good roast. Some oil in there. As soon as it's done cooling down, I'll pull them out and put them into a bowl. Let's see. Come over here. Oh, wait a minute. Where's my bowl? It's probably, well, I think I can use this one, and we'll let you see how it looks. Just a light smoke in the house. One time I did it a little too long and smoked up the house real good. And now they're just churning around in there, cooling down. It's a small little roaster, but it's good for, it does about a quarter pound. Is it a quarter pound? Something like that. With each roast, or each, that's about how much it can do. These beans don't expand that much because they've already been expanded. Sometimes you'll see with the green ones, it'll actually fill up the entire container once it's roasted. But for personal use, this one works. To me, it works really well. You can get 2 or 3. I usually drink a 4-cup pot. You get 2 or 3 of those out of one roast, and then roast again. should be done pretty soon here. And she's done. Okay, let's pull the cap off. Too hot to handle? Nope. And I'll show you the chaff. You can see the little flakes and stuff in there. Let's see. I don't know if you can really see that, but there's like a little dusting in there inside that container that is the chaff. Like I said, this one doesn't have a whole lot of chaff on it. But then we'll pour the beans out in a bowl. Get them all out. Take a look at this. And that's a pretty nice roast there. It's not too oily. Kind of dark. I did an oilier one that didn't. It got a little bitter with this particular roast. I'd love you to be able to. Ooh, it smells good. Love for you to be able to smell it. You know, still again, haven't invented Smell-O-Tube yet. But I'm gonna let this one sit. I actually have to let it sit for a day or so and just air out, because when beans are roasted, after they're roasted, they give off carbon monoxide gas. So if you package them up right away, it'll start to fill up the container with carbon monoxide. It's not enough to hurt anybody, but it fills the container. So it's best to let them off gas and set up a little. So I'm going to let this one set up and then get it off to you. Again, appreciate it, and I'm really kind of digging this whole trading thing. So I'm going to do up a couple others for you too, so you can try them out and let me know what you think. See ya. Oh, and well, instead of happy smoking, happy drinking.